light on the inner machinations of China's Communist Party leadership. After only 7 hours in court, officials say Gu Kalai, the wife of the deposed political leader Bo Xilai, and along with an accomplice, had all but confessed to poisoning a British businessman, Neil Haywood. Gu's husband has all but disappeared from the public eye. A man who was seen once as the most Western-like politician in the country has had a spectacular career cut dramatically short. But the case has alerted the world to the otherwise secretive dealings of the party's upper echelons. It comes at a sensitive time for the Politburo as it prepares for a once-in-a-decade leadership transition in the months ahead. Joining me as guests tonight are John Paul Shang, an economist and China specialist, Emmanuel Linko, the chair of contemporary China studies at the Institut Catholique de Paris. From Stockholm, albeit normally based in Shanghai, is Swedish correspondent Ulla Wong, who works for the Swedish newspaper Svenska Dagbladet. And from Burgundy, here in France, Fabien Clairaut, a research fellow at IRIS and a specialist in China studies. First of all, I want to throw a question to you, Ulla. This case is happening perhaps at a very sensitive time for the party, as we've just been hearing, as factions are grappling for influence and while at the same time trying to sort of ensure a smooth transition to power. And this is one of the reasons that we saw a very speedy court hearing today, isn't it?
Yeah, probably it is. And they went over within 1 day. And what we've been seeing, what we're still waiting for is any kind of information of what's going to happen with the husband, Bo Xilai. And apparently they still haven't managed to agree on that in the top of the party.
Ulla, would you call it a cover-up on the part of the Politburo?
For sure. The wife is going to take the blame here, and they will try to smooth things over and make it look like a freak incident and not as something that could be emblematic for how the leaders behave in general.
Fabien Clairaut, it certainly shows that, as we were talking earlier, that the party hasn't really changed despite claims to the contrary. I mean, this is not the sort of image that they want to put out there to the wider world as such, is it?
Of course, it's only a transition, and the next president, probably Xi Jinping, is a son of a famous revolutionist. Nothing has really changed, and this trial, the length of the trial was only 1 day. It's not unusual in China, and now they want the scandal to be put behind. And the main transition is an economic transition. So main problems are not political, but economic. And China is facing not severe, but an economic slowdown. So once the trial is behind, important matters will be tackled.
Emmanuel Linko, what are the Chinese public, what are they thinking about all of this?
Well, it's quite difficult to have any news about what the public and the opinion really think about this event. I think Bo Xilai becomes now, and his family, a true outsider of the communist family, and maybe will become more popular because of this matter of fact.
I mean, there'll be a conspiracy theory, I imagine.
I don't say a conspiracy because he has no means and no very serious support.
But there'll be a conspiracy theory perhaps put around that he was purposely sidelined by those who are against him.
We even don't know if there was a temptation of making a coup. We don't know. We have no proofs about that, even though there are a few rumors. What is sure is that Bo Xilai now doesn't belong to this communist family. It means that the Communist Party will be certainly tempted to reinforce the new President Xi Jinping, and I don't think that we will attend to a more opening policy in China, you see. I think that this government will be stronger and stronger, and there will be no room for the dissidents, even the dissidents from the Communist Party.
Jean-Paul Chang, it seems like President Hu has scored a few political points by agreeing not to pursue charges at this point against Bo Xilai.
Yes, I still believe that Bo Xilai is, they are trying to, let's say his challengers actually succeeded to eliminating him from the course, I mean the match for the executive committee. This is done. So now it's very dangerous for them to go further. And because what has been said here about what he's representing as political sensitivities, etc., could be dangerous for the whole ruling party if they go too far. That's why, personally, I believe that they're going to try to separate, I mean, the fate of his wife, Gu Kailai, and himself, in order to give some kind of, right now, the accusation against Bo Xilai, the official one, so far, it's still the same. It's a serious lack of discipline to the party, which is actually not so serious, okay, but that's nothing to do yet with the kind of accusation they launched against Chen Liangyu. The difference is Bo Xilai represents a whole generation of sons and daughters of the founders of the republic.
What do you think the message is that the party is sending out, though, to China by pursuing this case?
First is, with this trial, I mean, the first message is what Fabienne said earlier. It is nobody's above the law. That means if you committed a murder, you should be tried, whatever your social position could be. That's the first thing. And also because the pressure of the opinion through the net, the Twitters, makes things very different now in China. They cannot just let the things not going on, so they have to organize a trial. But you see clearly that actually they are separating more and more with all these rumors raising about the fact that Bo Xilai and Gu Kailai actually they're not a true couple now for more than 10 years, etc., etc.
Ula Wong, just bringing you in from Stockholm, it certainly has meant, all of this sort of controversy, that the Congress, which we have yet to wait for a date, we believe it's most likely going to be in October, that it's been somewhat overshadowed by these events.
And there's even been discussion if we're going to postpone the Congress until next year, because there's been so much contradictions within the party, so much argument. Now it seems like they managed to at least agree on Kailai and what's going to happen with her, and we're gonna do the Congress now in October probably. We don't know that for sure. But what we have to remember here as well is that Bo Xilai's father was Bo, he was one of the party leaders who was instrumental in helping Deng Xiaoping let the military run down the demonstration in 1989 in Beijing. And Bo also helped Jiang Zemin to become the party leader, the successor, the one who came before Mr. Hu Jintao. Now, Hu Jintao, he wants to, now when he's handing over the power, he wants to hang on as a chairman of the Central Military Commission. And he also wants to promote his prodigies up onto leading position. And that means he has struck a deal with other power interests. And Jiang Zemin apparently still is a power interest, and he is protecting the son of his savior, Bo.
Emmanuel, it seems like there's a lot of people looking after their mates as such. That's very much a hallmark of the way in which the Communist Party operates, isn't it?
Yes, of course. It's very opaque, in fact. We don't really know all the secrets shared between the different communist members. I think to make a conclusion, to try to make a conclusion about what we said tonight, there are two scenarios. The first one is the majority of the communist members will try to separate indeed Gou Kalai's trial and Bo Xilai's affair. But what I heard this morning during this trial, you remember that the judge was making a link between Bo and Gu. So it's very rare also in China. I mean, to
was he acting against orders?
Bo Xilai and
for the judge to actually link. I mean,
to make, well, not a confusion, but to make a link, an official link between his wife and Bo Xilai himself. Right?
At this point,
it is a clue, by the way.
Yes. At this point, I just want to take a look at a rather sort of interesting illustration we have here, talking about the power of China and the fact that, you know, this country has become a global economic powerhouse. And if we look at a graphic that we have of the GDP from 1960s up to 2011, you'll see that it's now reached $7 trillion a year. So there's been an extraordinary exponential growth in the economy. But Fabien Clairaut, there hasn't been the same growth when it comes to freedom of speech or other human rights, has it?
Not really, but you can see the glass half empty or half full. And now, as I said before, because of the social media, Weibo and internet, most of the Chinese people, they can not talk freely, express themselves freely, but they can have access to information and express their opinions. It's very new. It has changed China dramatically.
But the other, perhaps more pressing issue is transparency in government. I mean, surely what we've just witnessed gives you some sense, as Emmanuel just pointed out, how opaque it all is.
Yeah, it has always been opaque, but the big difference is that now all the world is looking at China. 5 years before or 10 years before, nobody would have had such a debate about Chinese politics. Not everybody is now interested in what is going on in China, and there is still a big lack of transparency, but we have some clues, and if you go to China, you speak to the people, you can have their opinions, and they are very interesting in politics.
Yulawang, would you agree that, you know, that it's a different world nowadays in China? I mean, is there a chance that this country could indeed face its own Jasmine Spring?
Well, you have to remember that China has a very strong security force, and they not only have an army to guard itself against foreign enemies, like in other countries, they also have an army, standing army to guard against internal threats, the People's Armed Police, and they have put tremendous budgets on maintaining stability, as you say, and they are also been much better at managing the country than, for instance, Egypt have been, or Tunisia. So for the moment, I mean, there is always a risk or a possibility, but it doesn't seem to be very big. But, you know, everyone who's been trying to predict the future of China has been wrong. So,
Jean-Paul Chang, as we just heard from Ulla, anyone who tries to predict the future of China inevitably gets it wrong. But is it a case where you've got a growing middle class that at some point they no longer just want to have flat screen TVs and, you know, holidays to Shanghai and Hong Kong, But they're interested in getting all the other things that their counterparts in the West have.
You know what they want? In this case, they want more police to guard their safety, to protect the wealth accumulated, and that's okay. So this regime is actually generated this massive urbanized people, and so it's as long as there's still hope to get richer in this country for young generation, for people still in the countryside, etc. We cannot compare the situation with what we witnessed in our countries.
But the reality is, Emmanuel, that this case has revealed divisions within the party, which in turn reveals divisions within China as well, doesn't it?
Well, first of all, it is a division between the Communist members themselves, and you can't compare, of course, the Arab context, first of all, and you can't compare the democratic system of our Western countries with China. This affair, Bossilai's affair, is very, very marginal, I'm afraid. So, except in the fact that they will reduce the number of 9 members of official members of the Politburo to 7 members, and Bossilai is now forever certainly marginal. But concerning the support of the opinion, I'm not sure that there will be an impact. As you said, I do share your opinion. As far as there will be a growth, 7%, 6%, well, the opinion will benefit of it, and they will not try to change the political situation.
Finally, Fabienne Clairaut, in terms of what you see happening with the Communist Party, are you agreeing with your fellow panellists that this is not so much of a political earthquake as others have said it is?
Yeah, I totally agree. It's an incredible story, but it's not an earthquake, surely.
I'm afraid that's all we have time for. I want to give all of my guests a very big thanks for joining me tonight. And to begin with, on my right, Jean-Paul Chang, China specialist. Thank you again. Emmanuel Linko. From Stockholm, I'd like to thank Ulla Wong, and also from Burgundy, Fabienne Clairaut. And that's it for this edition of the Franz van Kat debate. Stay tuned for more news and headlines, which are coming up very shortly.